What up, peeps? How you doing today? Well, for personal growth being one of the most difficult aspects of life, well, for some it's non-existent. Personal growth being the idea that we, as we get older, move forward into a more rounded way of being, a more well-rounded understanding of our fellow man and our world. And to each individual, growth is going to have a different definition. Some grow towards a particular goal or path. Some grow towards just becoming the best they can. Hi, kitty. And doing the best they can with what's given to them. And some desire something altogether different, like a they have a very rigid or strict standard of what growth is, such as a particular path or a destination that they have to reach. Some of those who have a destination like this impose it on others as if they should be following the same destination. And this is where I think growth separates from judgment or assumption that another person may be not able to reach the same conclusions or the same realizations through their particular path, whatever this path may be. But being one who has spent most of my life as a thinker, there's thinkers and there's doers. I'm a thinker. I don't do so much, I don't get out and attack the world in the sense that I do attack my studies or attack the things that I find important. But it's easy for people who are deep thinkers to point the finger at those who are just hard workers and say, look at you. You're wasting your time working away when you should really be just figuring out who you are. And being a thinker doesn't necessarily mean you know who you are. Now, those who are working hard may look at the thinkers and say the same thing, except for, look at you, you're wasting your time with philosophy when you could be building something, building a career, building a future, building economic status, if you will. And neither one of them are wrong, because we need people who think for those who don't, in a sense. I don't mean that to sound like others should be listening to what people tell them, because that's one of the most difficult things, I think. When I made a video the other day about authority and experts, and I mentioned how we have to trust somebody. You have to put down your guard and just trust somebody once in a while. You have to be able to say, I just don't know about this, and I'm going to refer to someone who does. This brings back the old Aristotelian idea of, the argument of the ethos, pathos, and logos. And is the person conveying a good message? Does the message make sense? Is the person conveying it a trustworthy person? So on and so forth. And what we see as a person who has good opinions is someone who has good growth. So that brings us back to the two different types of growth. If you're looking for philosophical direction, then you refer to a philosopher. If you're looking for scientific direction, you refer to a scientist. And as we're all pretending like we know what real growth is, it's easy to get caught up in where we used to be, forget about the past, the things that we've already found to be so obvious. For an example, I've really only spent about the last 5 years working on any type of mystical growth or knowledge. Before that, I was into a lot of the hidden ideas, hidden knowledge, ancient ideas and mythology, but not so much as aliens or governmental conspiracies. I was very into the Illuminati and all these different aspects of fear, And I was never fearful, or I didn't tell myself I was. I said that I was just being vigilant, being aware. But I realized that that was just another version of fear. That I was finding a way to be afraid of the world around me, rather than saying I'm going to get my feet wet and be part of it. Since I've taken on these newfound studies, relatively new in my life, it's not that these Eastern ideas or, mysticism is new to me. It's just that I've only begun to understand the stuff in a way that I can actually utilize it over the last few years. And it was kind of like when I gave somebody a book the other day. It was the Kybalion, and I couldn't make sense of it. And I realized, it was a point where I realized that the very first page, it says, the lips of wisdom the lips of wisdom are closed except for the ears of understanding, something like that. The old saying of, you only can absorb knowledge when you're finally able to, when you're ready for it. And I think that some people, this makes a hard, a division between people. Some people have already moved through a certain phase, and they think they're superior because of it, when in reality they may have created a complete delusion and wasted their time, or maybe what they do believe is true, or what they've learned is true. In other words, when I read the Kybalion, I learned a lot from it. I gained a lot from it. When I loaned it to someone, they said that they got nothing from it and couldn't make sense out of it. That could mean that either I'm totally delusional and drawing my own conclusions, or that I understand something deeper now because of the things I've gone through. But I refuse to let any type of arrogance run my life, to say that this is the growth I've done and you should do this, or this is what I think is important and you should too. And it's just not that way. It takes all types. It's one of my favorite sayings, and it really does. Two of my favorite sayings, and the second one that people don't like so much, was "it is what it is." Now, I don't like the saying in the sense of, it doesn't mean that you can't change things, but I love that saying in the sense that if it's something that happened, or something that is just the way it is, such as, why do these trees have to be sharp? Why does this plant have to be poisonous? Or why do we have to be born with skin? It just is what it is. There are certain things that we cannot change. And so growth, in my opinion, is sorting through these things and finding the things we can change and improving. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know the best route for anybody else, because I don't. I know the best route for me, and I'm still learning, and others are teaching me maybe a better route for myself as well. An example would be years ago when somebody told me, well, I heard this from a few different people over the years, but basically don't think too hard or don't think too much, because you end up overthinking things and you end up missing the point of simplicity. And to a degree that's true. But you have to go through the complexity to respect the simplicity. In other words, if you're always wondering how things work, or you can't understand the details of them, you can't really draw a good conclusion or basis. It's just like having both sides of the argument before you draw a conclusion. So you sort through all these ideas, you go through this. The way I saw it is, you can live a simple life, and then once you have opened that door, you can never close it again. Once you've seen yourself, once you've watched yourself and observed yourself for who you are, and watched yourself move through life, which is something I considered that everybody did, but I realized people don't. You start to see your flaws, your shortcomings, and you make it fun. Some people can take it to the degree that they become self-conscious because of it, and that's not where it should ever lead, because you should only be self-conscious if you're doing things that you know are harmful to others. And we have to sort through our feelings and emotions. But for me personally, having a good grasp, a general grasp on everything that I can, being a jack of all trades, is the most important thing to growth. Yet not jumping into one category or another for a very long period of time, because you end up getting wrapped up in it. In other words, you're getting your feet wet. You're immersing yourself in these ideas, pulling yourself back out. And that way you don't slip into the tub and get very comfortable and warm. Think of life as walking through up at Bagby Hot Springs and walking through the hot tubs and testing each one, ooh, that's nice, ooh, that's nice. And that's how I feel about life. But never, I'm always kind of moving to the next thing because I don't want to get too hung up. But finding that finding that comfort, finding that understanding is going to be an individual search for each person. Sometimes it seems futile to even talk about these things. Like we look at ourselves and we often find ourselves doing things maybe we think we shouldn't do, and so we feel guilty about them maybe. Such as like somebody might say, geez, Josh, you make a lot of videos, you know? How can you spend so much time making videos? And I think, I don't know. So I thought about it a couple of years back. I was like, you know, I'm wasting a lot of time making videos. And then I told myself, you know, even when I get one response a year that says, hey man, you've helped me through a hard time, or something you said really resonated with me, that's it. That's enough for me. It has nothing to do with ego or arrogance or me thinking, oh, I have some idea. It has to do with, I'd like to help people. I like to see people happy. I want to see people functioning. And so making videos about life to me is perhaps the best use of time I could imagine. Because I'm helping myself, I'm working through ideas, thinking about things, and sometimes I'll see a YouTube channel where it's just somebody playing with kids' toys or something, and that's what they do. They get kids' toys, they play with them. I think this is what, you know, other people do with their video time, so why should I feel guilty? And I'm not comparing here by any means, you know. Entertainment is an important part of society, but my point being is that some of the most important things in life are just the least talked about. I found only a few philosophers on YouTube that really, you know, resonate with me, that just have fun with it. And that's my last thing I want to leave on that note, is that some people take it way too seriously. They take philosophy and mythology and history and all these things way too seriously. They make it into a competition. Almost like, I know this about the planets, I know this about the earth, I know this about myself, and what do you know, kind of thing. And it's laughable, because I pass those people up and I just move on, because those are the ones who haven't got it yet. It's not a competition of wisdom or knowledge. You're better off hanging out with people who are wiser than you, because if you're not gaining anything. And to be able to admit, you know, that we don't know shit is important. And for me personally, I hear a lot of people who are so beyond my level of thinking. I think, wow, either these people are too far gone or they have it all figured out. But never to have that level where we think we just got it all figured out. But as a whole, we're doing the best we can. Well, it's a beautiful sunny day out here. So I guess I'm going to part ways. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and yeah, namaste.